So let's get started. Let's see. And if you have any questions, just feel free to unmute yourself, or you can also post your question in the chat. Yeah. So what is Git? So Git is a very popular version control system for tracking changes in your files. So it allows you to take a snapshots of your files at different like at different versions. So you don't have to like keep multiple copies of your files like with different names. So you can just have like this Git repository that keeps track of your local history. So you can like go back to different versions at any time. And so this allows people to like really easily revise their changes and also collaborate with other people using a remote like cloud repository like GitHub, which I'll introduce in a little bit. But basically the idea is that whenever you make a changes to your files, you can like add your changes to this staging area. So after that, like when you're like done making all those changes and you're comfortable making making it like finalized, you can make a git commit and you can like add message similar to what you see over here. And that those changes like will be kept in your history. So even though you mess something up or some you like your code like breaks, you can always like go back to the previous version and yeah, so it's like really flexible. Let's see. So this is like the basic workflow of Git. So basically you have a local repository and you also have a remote repository, but don't worry about this right now. So whenever you create a project, you can initialize a Git repository by doing like git init, and that will basically create a dot folder, which is hidden by default, but you don't really worry about, like, you don't have to worry about that. So basically the workflow is that like by default, you're in your working directory, and when you make some changes to your files, you can add them to the staging area. And after you're like comfortable making those changes, like finalize, like basically like wrap everything, like make it a batch, then you can commit your changes to the local repository. And after you've like done multiple commits, you can just push those changes using git push, and that will be saved to your remote repository, which is located in GitHub. So this allows other developers to like pull the copy of this remote repository, and they can also like work on this repos like collaboratively. But we'll go over all these commands like really soon. So don't worry about like if this seems like confusing to you. Yeah. So so these are like the most commonly used commands in Git. So the first one is Git Status, which basically allows you to check the status of your working tree. So it lets you see the differences between your working directory and the staging area. So you know like which files are ready to be committed and which files you're not committing. And after you've, yeah, so that's the first command. And this is another command for just initializing a local Git repository. So you can do git init to initialize a Git repos, and then you can like after you've made some changes to your files, you can do like git add and specify the file names, and then those files will go to the staging area. And then when you're ready to commit those changes, you can do git commit -m and add some message that tells like why this change was necessary. Yeah. So before we get started, make sure that you have Git installed, and the really easy way to check that is just opening up your terminal or Git bash terminal, and then type in this command, git -- version, and you should see some kind of like version of Git. But if you don't, then that means you haven't installed Git. Um, yeah, so after you've done that, you need to add your Git credentials. So what this is for is that like if you were to work with other developers and you make some commits and you push your changes to the remote repos, when other developers pull in your changes, they know like who made these changes by like looking at your name and also your email. So so this is really important. So after you've typed in these two commands in your terminal, you can check your config configuration by doing by typing in git config -list, enter, and that should display all your configuration, including your username and user email. Yeah, let me know if you have any trouble getting these working. And make sure that you don't include the backtick. So after you've done this, you can just open up your WebStorm, and we're just gonna create a sample directory for us to make some files, and we're gonna just create a Git repos. So if you're using Mac, you can just use your default terminal, like Mac terminal, like with Git. But if you're on Windows, you might have to open up Git bash instead of the default Windows terminal. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna create a new project. Yeah, yeah, empty project is fine. So I'm just gonna say intro to Git, and you can name it whatever you want. So this is just gonna create an empty directory. Okay. And I also configured my WebStorm in a way that I can like use Git bash directly on my terminal. But if you're on Mac, you can just use your default Mac terminal. But if you're on Windows, I think there's a way for you to like use the Git bash as your terminal for WebStorm. But you can just like right click on your desktop and then just open up Git bash from there also. But make sure that you're in this directory, right? So the way you can do that is, I guess, just right clicking on the folder that you created and then just opening Git bash from there if you're on Windows. Yeah, so to check which directory you're currently on, you can do pwd, and that will tell you like exactly where you're on. So make sure that your terminal is in whatever project folder that you just created, because we're going to initialize a Git repos from there. So that is really important. Another really useful command to know is ls. So that basically displays all the files and directories that is currently within this the directory that you're on. So right now we don't have anything, and that is fine because So what we're gonna do is that we're just gonna create some files, and you can like create a file just using the GUI, but you can also do that by typing in a terminal, like command under terminal. And the command to create a file is called touch. So you can do touch, and let's create a file called main.js. So after that, you may notice that we have this JavaScript file being created, and you can see that in your file explorer. And we can also type in ls again to just check that this file has been created. Yeah. So let me know if you have any issue coming to this step. Yeah, you can just post your question in the chat. But so what we're gonna do is that we're gonna create another file called index.html. So let's call this index. And it should just automatically populate this file with some boilerplate code. So let's say intro to Git and GitHub. Okay. Let's create a paragraph. This is just dummy text. Okay. All right. So let me just open this up on my browser window, but that's not really necessary. So you can do copy path, and you can open up Chrome or any browser of your choice, and you can type in file colon // and then just paste the absolute path of your file, and that will just display that in your browser window. Let me just, okay. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm just gonna initialize this folder as a Git repository, so I can keep track of different versions of my folder. So what you need to do is typing in the command git init, which stands for initialize. So as you can see, it says it has like initialize an empty Git repository in this. And it has created a file called .git, which you can't really see by default because like File Explorer usually hides the .git files, but you can actually see them using the command line by doing ls-a, which is going to display all the files, including the hidden files. So if you do that, you can see there's this .git file, which we just created. And this .idea file is just specific to the WebStorm IDE. But we also have our index.html and main.js. Okay. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to check the status of our Git repos. So if we type in Git Status, that's going to show the differences between our working tree and our staging area. So as you can see, we haven't like added any files in our staging area for us to commit, right? So if you were to go back to the workflow, we need to, so this is our default, default workspace, and we're in the working directory. So we need to add those, whatever files that we want to commit at the end by like adding them to the staging area. So whatever that you see that's like highlighted in red, those are in the working area. So we need to add these to the staging area. So I'm just gonna add the index.html and main.js to the staging area. So you can do git add and just type in the file name. So in this case, that would be index.html and main.js. Enter. So I can do git status again, but I'm just going to clear this terminal. So you can do type in clear to get rid of all these text. So now I'm going to do git status again. So as you can see, it shows me that the index.html and the main.js file have been added to the staging area, which are ready to commit, right? And we also have this file that we're not keeping track of. So we're not going to keep track of this file just because it is specific to my IDE. So it is like not necessary to keep track. So one easy way to not keep track of these dot files or any like configuration files is creating a file called .gitignore. So whatever files that you add to that .gitignore file is going to be like Git is not going to like keep track of them. So even if you do like git status, it's not going to show up in the untracked file over here. So we're going to create that file. So you can either create that by right-clicking on your by using the GUI, or you can also do that by typing in the command touch. And this is a hidden file, so we're going to do .gitignore. Okay. So if I were to refresh, so this is the file. So I'm going to ignore this .idea directory. So I'm just going to type this in. Let's do git status again. Okay. Yeah, so we need to like yeah, this should have just like not kept track of it. Yeah, like yeah. Anyway, so let's actually create a file called like keys, maybe. So this file should include anything that you don't want to expose to the public. So that could include your API keys, maybe. So we don't want to keep track of this file, so we can just do keys.js, and then let's do git status. Yeah, so as you can see, even though we have this file in our directory, it is not being like the Git is just like ignoring this file because we have added that to our .gitignore file. So make sure that you add any directory or files that you don't want to push to the remote repos, which is like located in GitHub. So this is really convenient. So let's see. Yeah. So we have added the index.html and the main.js to our working directory. So what we need to do right now is commit them to our Git repos. So we can just do git commits and make sure that you have this -m at the end. And then you can start with some quotation marks, and then let's see, initial commit. So you can add like whatever message that you want to add over here. And then if you hit enter, that's gonna add these files with those changes to the, as a commit. And if you're using WebStorm, I think you can see the like the tree nicely. Let's see, I think it's, no. Let's see. Yeah, there's supposed to be an option that allows you to like see all those Git history, but you can just you can also use the command line by using Git Log, and that's gonna show you all the commits that you've made. So this is a commit that I've made. So this is my username, and this is my email, and I've made this commit today, November 8th, and this is the message. And you can hit Q to like exit from that view. But you can also add the -- line to just see the title instead of other things. So yeah. Let's see. Okay. Oh yeah. So yeah, so I was able to get this working. So what you need to do is just go into your toolbar and hit the version like BCS drop down, and under that you can just do like integrate version control. Yeah, that was an option that that I saw earlier, but I think it's something called like integrate version control, and you can hit OK, and it lets you to display your Git history in this really nice looking GUI. So you can like hit this, and then it also shows you like what files that has been changed in this commit, and like what branch this is in, who made this changes. So yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna do right now is I'm gonna yeah, I'm gonna introduce you guys to the branching, but before that, let me just show you how like how this works. So if I were to make more like some changes, like this is another change, and I hit save. And if I were to type in Git Status, that's gonna show me that there has been some changes in the .gitignore and the index.html file. So I need to add these before I make the commit. So make sure you always like add your files before you commit. And if you want to add all the files, you can just use dots, and that will just add all the files that are in your working directory. And you can also do like star.html, and this is going to add all the files with an extension of HTML. And you can also do JS. Yeah. So I'm just going to use git add dots, and let's take Git status again. So right now, these are the changes that I've made to these files. So I need to make a commit. So git commit -m, new change, enter. Let's do Git status again. So right now my working directory is clean. And if I were to do git log -- line, that's gonna show me all the commits. Yeah, so this is the latest commit that I made. So I can enter Q to exit. And if I were to go see my tree, as you can see, I can see this latest commit that was made. Okay. So now I think I'm going to introduce you guys to the branching. I'm not sure if I created a slideshow for that, but let's see. Okay, yeah, I guess I didn't, but I think I'll just go over. So usually, like with Git, you have like different branches that keeps track of like different history, right? So right now I'm just working from the master branch, which is the main branch. But if you were to create a new feature for your application, you like usually if you're working with like other people, you don't want to just make your changes directly to the master branch. You need to create a new branch that is specific to that feature, and after you've like tested your code and tested everything, and you can then like merge that branch with your master branch, so it is not like conflicting with other people's work. So yeah, so let's see. So we're just gonna create a new branch called, let's see, sample feature. Actually, let's do feature 1. So now we have like created this branch, but so we can actually see all the branch that was created by using git feature, git branch, and that's going to display all the branches. So we have the feature 1, and we also have the master. So we're currently in the master branch. So we need to go inside the feature branch. So you can do that by using git checkout and type in the name of your branch, and that's feature 1. Okay, so now we're inside the feature 1 branch. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a file called feature1.index feature1.html. And I'm also going to add some text. Okay, so let's just do HTML, and let's do the body. Okay, I'm just going to copy this over. So this is called feature 1. Let's say this is feature 1. Okay. So right now we created this file feature1.html inside the, like while we're in the feature 1 branch. And if I were to do Git Status, it's going to tell me which branch I'm in, and it's also going to tell me like which files that are in my working directory. So I need to add this to the staging area to make a commit. So I'm going to make a commit by doing git add, and I'm going to do feature1.html. So if I do git status again, now this file is highlighted in green, which means this is in my staging area. So this is like ready to be committed. So I can just git commit feature1.html HTML has been added. Okay. Okay. So if I look inside my Git tree, let's see, this is, yeah. So it is showing me that my latest commit inside the feature one branch is this commit that we just added. But you can also see that our master branch doesn't have this commit, right? So the master branch shouldn't have this file in the directory, and you can actually I can actually prove this to you by going inside the checking out the master branch. So I can do git checkout master. So I've switched to the master branch, and if I were to do ls or just refresh my Explorer, as you can see, the feature1.html file has disappeared. So yeah, so this is how branching works. So whatever files or changes that you added to a different branch, it doesn't show up in other branches unless you merge those changes, which is what we're going to do now. So after you're comfortable with your feature, after you think that this feature is done and is ready to be merged with the master branch, you can do yeah, first you need to check out master branch, which we just did that, and then you need to merge them by doing git merge, and you need to specify the branch that you want to merge into. So that is the feature one branch, and you also need to add some message that specify this, why this merge is necessary. Let's see, ready to merge this feature. Okay. So now if I were to do ls, I see that feature1.html is showing in my master branch. And I can also see that my file explorer. So here it is. And if I were to look at my Git history, I can see that the master branch has been is pointing to the latest commit, which is the feature1.html. Yeah, so this is a really convenient way to work on different parts of different features and different parts of your application without conflicting with other people's work, right? So everyone can work at the same time and work on their each individual features, and when they're ready to merge them, they can just merge their branch with the master branch and without conflicting with other people's work. Okay, so do you guys have any questions? Okay, let's see. Okay, so now let's go over GitHub. So let's see. So if I were to just Google GitHub, so GitHub is actually a hosting company that allows you to host your local repositories, and so this allows you to have your have a backup of your Git repository in the cloud, so you can access it from anywhere, and other people can also access it and work on it. So So you need to sign up for a GitHub account. So after you've done that, you can just, let's see, I think this is it. Yeah, you can like create a new repository. So you can name your repository like whatever you want. So I'm just gonna do, let's see, WebDVT intro to Git. Okay. And the description is optional, and you can either make this repos public or private. So if you make it public, anyone on the internet can like view this repository, and but they can't like write to this repos, right? But if you make it private, only you and anyone that you allow can see this repos. So I'm just gonna make it public. And you can also initialize this with a Readme, and like getting a Nord file, but we're not gonna do that. So I can just like hit create repos, and that's gonna create a remote repository. So what I'm gonna do now is that I'm going to upload my changes in my local repos to this remote repos. So there are like two scenarios when you like create a GitHub like repository. So one is you haven't like created a local repos, right? But in our case, we have, so we're just gonna use this. So the first thing that we need to do is to link this remote repos to our local repos. So you can just like copy this command and just execute that on your terminal. So this is going to add this remote repos by giving it a name of origin. So you can like specify this GitHub like remote repos with the name of origin. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So let's see. So first, let's just do git remote, and that's going to list all the remote repos that are like linked to this local repos. But if we hit enter, it is not showing anything, which is fine. So we can just copy paste the command. So if we do this, it is going to add like link this remote repos to our local repos. Okay, so let's do git remote again. So now we have this remote repos of origin. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna push our changes to this remote repos. So we're gonna type in git push -u, which stands for like setting up upstream. So like whenever like the next time you can just do like git push instead of like git push origin, which is just gonna like push your changes to the origin remote repos. But if we do git push -u origin, and we also need to specify which branch of the remote repos we want to push our changes, and that's going to be the master branch. Actually, is it? Oh yeah, so because of the protests going on in the summer, GitHub has decided to change their default branch from master to main. So yeah, we need to do like main instead of master. So let's do main. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. So ref spec main does not match any. Git push -u origin master. Let's do git remote. Oh. Let's see. Let me try executing this command over here. Okay. Okay, yeah, so I guess you need to execute this command like after you've added your like linked your remote repos. I wonder what this -m stands for. So what you can do is, yeah, before, yeah, it's really lagging on my end. Yeah, so before, yeah, let me actually do, so you can always do git branch -- help to see all the options that are available to you. So this stands for like manual. So I wonder if there's a -m. Okay. So git branch -m stands for changing the, I guess it changes the branch name, maybe. So let's see what branches we have in our local repos. Okay, so I guess the lesson here is that the name of your local branch has to match the name of your master branch, sorry, name of your remote branch. So because there was a mismatch between the name of our like local master branch and the main branch in GitHub, we had to change our local branch name from master to main. So, so that was the issue. Okay. So make sure that you execute this command after adding your like remote branch. But after that, you can just copy paste this command over here, and you can do like git push -u origin main, and that's gonna ask for your GitHub credentials. So I'm just gonna enter mine. Yeah, I forgot what my password is, but I usually just use a SSH key. But let me see if this password works. But because I've set up like the two-factor authentication, I don't think I can like use my regular password. But let me see. Yeah, but you should be able to push your changes just fine. And let me know if you encountered any issue. Yeah, like if you're using two-factor authentication and you've like added your remote repos with the HTTPS instead of like SSH, I think you need to like generate a token using your GitHub account. So you need to use that as your password instead of your like regular GitHub account password. So I'm just gonna do that real quick. So yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna update my remote repos URL from from HTTPS to SSH because I already have like a private key set up for my GitHub account. Let's see, yeah. So I'm just gonna do git remote set URL origin. Let's see. And I'm just gonna check SSH and I'm gonna paste this in. Let's see. Okay. Okay, now if I were to git push -u origin main. Okay, now I was able to push all my changes. So if I were to take a look at my remote repos and just refresh this page, I can see that like now I have all those files. So it is telling me to create a Readme file. So Readme file is basically like displays, like tells you like what this repository is about. So let's just quickly add that. So you can do, you can create a file called touch using the touch command. So I'm gonna do readme.md, which stands for markdown. So we're just gonna add something. So intro to Git workshop sample repos. Sample repos created. Okay. So after that, I just need to add this change. So I can do Git status to see what changes I need to add to my staging area. So let's see, git add readme.md. Let's commit git commit -m, add the readme file. Oops, there was a typo. Okay. Now let's just push. So if I do git push, it's going to automatically push it to the origin main by default. So if I were to refresh my repos, now I see now we have this readme file which displays what this repos is about. And I can also see all the commits by hitting this commit button. So it also displays what commits I've made, and it also lets you see the changes. So this is a really easy way for other developers to review your code. Yeah, so I think I've covered pretty much all the fundamentals. So let me know if you have any questions, but I think the only thing that we missed is on how to contribute to other people's project, right? So in that case, you need to fork other people's repos, and that's going to create a copy of that repos under your own GitHub account, and you can just make your changes and just create a pull request. But I can actually show you guys some resources on how to do that, so you can maybe watch those videos or articles, or read those articles on your own time. But I think we pretty much covered everything. Yeah. Oh yeah. One last thing is you can actually so the way to install or download a repos to your local machine is using this command called clone. So you can either do HTTP or SSH, but basically the way it works is that let's see, you can just copy this, and then you can just open up your Git bash or just your terminal, and then let's see where I am. I'm gonna go into desktop first. Okay, so now I'm just gonna execute this command called clone. Sorry, it should be git clone. Okay, and you just need to paste in the Git URL, and after that, it is gonna create a copy of this, of that remote repos in your computer, so you can check out the code and make any changes and whatnot. Okay, so this basically creates this local copy of that directory. So here it is, and I can yeah, it has all those files. So I think this is the way that we're gonna go from now on. So you don't have to install a zip file. If I were to give you guys some source code, so you can just go to this GitHub repos and just clone it from now on. Yeah, I think that's everything. I hope you guys learned the fundamentals of Git and also GitHub. So yeah, so I'm sure you'll be able to upload all those all of your project files to GitHub from now on. But yeah, do you guys have any questions? Okay, so if you don't have any questions, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Yeah, take care. Bye.